At Exposure Ninja, we work with clients that spend 4 figures a month on their digital marketing, but we also work with clients that spend 7 figures a month on their digital marketing. What does all of this digital marketing have in common? Well, it's usually designed to drive traffic, i.e. people, to a website, and in particular, landing pages on that website. But however much you're spending, the performance of those landing pages is absolutely key to the performance of your digital marketing as a whole. At Exposure Ninja, over the years, we've built landing pages that have converted at over 25%, meaning that you only need 4 visitors on that page to get a lead or sale. At the same time, we've also seen scores of landing pages that convert at less than 1%, meaning you need more than 100 visitors to that page to get a lead or a sale. So today we're going to look at exactly what makes a great landing page, and in particular, we're going to look at B2B landing pages. We're going to look at some great ones, some terrible ones, and we're going to break down the lessons that you can apply to your landing pages. And stick around to the end because I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite B2B landing pages. All right, but we're going to start with a fairly extreme example. Now I'm going to hazard a guess that this landing page has not won any design awards, but I don't care about that, and I'm going to bet that the owners of this landing page also don't care about that. Because whilst this page isn't perfect, it does have a lot of the most important landing page elements. Let's take a look. Now, when I'm analyzing a landing page, I'm looking for 6 key elements. Firstly, credibility. Now in the UK, this is a well-known brand, so they inherit a lot of credibility immediately. The second thing we're looking for is allure. This is the thing that the user is going to get if they take the desired action. So in this case, if I'm landing on this page, it's because I want to sell my van. The lure is the valuation. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. I'm being offered exactly the thing I came onto this page for. The third aspect is objection handling. We want to make sure that the landing page handles any objections the customer might have, not just in doing business with you, but also with filling in their details on your page. There's not a huge amount of copy on this page, but the copy that is there handles these objections really well. I'm not going to be hassled by pushy sales tactics. It's not going to take me ages. It's going to be really simple, and if I've got finance, they're going to sort that as well. The next thing we're looking for is social proof. Now, this is actually one of the areas that this page falls down on slightly, but we're going to look at some examples later of landing pages that do a really good job of the social proof aspect. The 5th aspect is ease of use. We want to make your landing page really easy for people to use. This sounds super obvious, but as we're going to see today, often landing pages really aren't anywhere near as easy to use as they should be. So this entire CTA section is designed to be as easy as possible. We don't have to choose a make and model of the van because it does the registration lookup. They also don't ask for very much information up front here, which makes it less intimidating for people. Now, of course, we marketers know that as soon as you put your registration and your mileage in, you're probably going to get asked your name, email, phone number, but they don't overwhelm the customer with that information up front. The final aspect we're looking for, the R enclosure, is to offer the customer some sort of result. In this case, I want to sell my van. This thing is offering to buy my van. Really simple. Again, we don't need to overthink this. Now, I'm not saying that your landing page needs to look like this. You probably wouldn't be too happy if your web design agency gave you a page that looked like this. But what this page does do really well is handle all of the key aspects that a landing page needs to. So let's look at some more landing pages, and we're going to go on a bit of a tour of the world of commercial finance. Here we are on the OneWest website, and this is a fantastic landing page. And by the way, your landing page doesn't need to be a separate page that you only drive PPC traffic to. This OneWest landing page is actually their homepage, and that can be a really smart move because your homepage is typically the highest traffic page on your website. So if you can get your proposition really nice and simple, present it nicely on your homepage like this, you'll find that your website has a really good overall conversion rate because your homepage is going to be smashing it and working really hard. This page does all of the aspects we've just talked about really well. Let's see how they do it. Credibility. Well, we can see they're really credible because look at this Trustpilot score. They've also mentioned the websites that they've been featured on, which is a great credibility trigger. Lure. What's the thing I'm being offered? Well, with this CTA, I can click a button to let's go and find my funds. Great. That's exactly what I came here for. The copy on this page is really well designed to handle any objections I might have. So we've got the fact that they do have humans in the business. But what if it's late at night? No worries, you can apply now. Yeah, but what if it takes ages? It won't. Is it going to be loads of work for me? No. Social proof. Well, they've added these great statistics that show me I'm not going to be the first person that fills in this form, and that really helps to improve your conversion rate. Ease of use. The fact that they've made this a slider makes it quite fun, playful. love it. And finally, the result that they're offering on this page. I think one of the things they're doing really well here is they're not just presenting it as here's a loan. They're saying we have your back. We understand you. We want to help you. We want your business to grow. This is a great landing page, and I would bet that it converts at over 5%. Just to show that there are more than one way to be right, here's another landing page in the same sort of space, but with a very different proposition. Again, this is quite a good landing page, even though it looks very different and has a lot of very different elements. This is for Clarify Capital at clarifycapital.com. You can see the CTA isn't as elegant here. We have to click to see our loan options, which isn't as snappy as let's go and find your funds. But the thing I really do like about this page is that they emphasize a very different proposition. This is all about people. Notice how the copy is very people focused. The only image above the fold here is about people. We've got a video to meet the funding team. Now, I've still got all the other key aspects of the closer framework on here. We've got credibility, we've got the lure, we've got the objection handling, we've got the social proof. But isn't it interesting to see how they've taken a completely different approach to the same problem as this West page, and yet they've come up with a really good result? Okay, let's look at a couple of bad landing pages in the same space. Firstly, this one from Greystone offering bridge and mezzanine loans. Take a look at this page. Do you know anything about Greystone from this page? Not really. We know what they offer, but is there any credibility here? No. Is there any lure? What's the CTA being offered? Meet our leadership. I'm sure your leadership are great, but that's not what I came to this page for. They do a reasonable job of objection handling. They've got these benefits section here, which is designed to handle objections, so that's good. But other than that, this page is really, really poor. You wouldn't want to drive paid traffic to this page. To be fair, you probably wouldn't even want to drive free organic traffic to this page. This page needs serious conversion rate life support, as does this page from Berkadia, which offers loan servicing service. Now, where to begin? I mean, just look at this copy here. Is that really the best copy to put above the fold, just under the heading on that page? The CTA, log into LoanView. Firstly, I don't know what LoanView is, and secondly, I don't have a login. So for cold traffic, that CTA is completely meaningless. Now, we do have some credibility here, but it's kind of pointless if I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. I don't know the next step. I would assume that I'm probably expected to call business development Alex Groot, but I don't know what's going to happen. There's no pre-qualification done on this page. So in reality, if you drove any volume of traffic to this website, these people's phones would get really busy with a whole bunch of junk that they'd have to filter themselves, which is a horrible use of their time. We have to scroll this far down the page before we get any sort of testimonial or review, and even then it's from one of the interns at Berkadia. And finally, they do have a contact form on this page, but they've put it right at the bottom of the page where typically only about 4% of the traffic gets to, and it's a horrible contact form with no perceived benefit or value to the customer. Now, there's a lot of really bad landing pages in this space. Here's another one from RCN Capital offering short and long-term financing for real estate investments. The CTA is apply now. No, get some information, get a quote. No, it's apply now. It's like walking into a restaurant. They don't even let you see the menu, they just immediately hand you the bill. Another industry where there's some really good landing pages and some really terrible landing pages is in B2B Energy. So we're going to take a look at that in just a second. But before we do, if improving the performance of your digital marketing and driving a higher ROI is really important to your business, you might want to request a free review from the team at Exposure Ninja. We'll take a look at your traffic generating strategies as well as the performance of your website and in particular your landing pages, and we'll map you out a digital marketing plan that you can follow over the next 6 to 12 months to significantly increase the performance of your digital marketing. This service is completely free of charge, but not everybody is eligible. So you do need to apply for this through the website at exposureninja.com/review. That's exposureninja.com/review. All right, let's continue our tour of landing pages. This is a B2B Energy landing page, but bionic.co.uk is not an energy provider. It is a comparison site. The great thing about comparison sites is they live and die by the performance of their website, because essentially this website exists because the energy companies are so bad at converting their own traffic, they have to pay companies like Bionic an affiliate commission to convert the traffic for them and drive them leads. So this means that it's very rare to find a successful comparison site that has bad landing pages, because they would just go out of business. And lo and behold, Bionic has a pretty good landing page for their business energy service. It's credibility, lure, objection handling, social proof, ease of use, and offering a result. We have all of this, and we have it above the fold. fold. Credibility is shown by all of these suppliers, the number of reviews that they've got, the lure, compare energy prices. They probably could improve this slightly more by saying, see how much you could save or something along those lines. Objection handling, we've got that here in this copy. Social proof, again from the reviews. Ease of use, we can just click a button to do it, and offering a result, they're offering to save money. They could make that a little bit stronger above the fold, but they do that on the rest of the page. This is the type of page that we'd expect to be converting at over 5%, which is really important because obviously Bionic only makes money on the lead generation piece. They don't have energy services that they sell on the back end. Let's take a look at some of the energy companies though, because they typically do a much worse job of this. Let's take a look, for example, at British Gas. Now, British Gas doesn't have brilliant conversion rate optimization on their website, but for the consumer side of things, it's a lot better. So here I am on the consumer side. Now, to begin with, I probably don't think about British Gas as my energy supplier if I'm a consumer. If I'm a business, I would, but this is the consumer page, so I don't know why they're talking about suppliers. But anyway, what we do have is a pretty straightforward CTA, and we've got a bit of credibility on this page from all the Trustpilot reviews. So this is actually a reasonable landing page. Now compare that to their business landing page, and all of a sudden it gets really horrible. Why? Because obviously they have different teams inside the business that cater with the small businesses, the large businesses, and the renewables. Unfortunately for the business customer, that means that I'm now faced with working out which department I need to go to and going through a separate and rather ugly approach for each of them. The same dynamic plays out on EDF Energy, where they're driving around 67,000 visits per month to this page, which is their consumer page. Switch your energy supplier to EDF. We just fill in our postcode and click to get started. It's a pretty attractive page. It makes sense. They've got some of the credibility, lure, objection handling stuff in here. They could have simplified this by just showing the Trustpilot score, but whatever. It does get a little bit more complicated down the page where I've got these tariffs and different layouts and formats, and I've got quotes. I've got different language for the quotes, but compared to the business side of things, it looks great. If you're someone in business, the first thing I'm asked is how many megawatt hours I'm using in my business. Is this per month? Is this per year? No idea. Do I know how many megawatt hours my business is using? Maybe I do, but probably I don't. And this is what we'd call a conversion blocker, where for some people it will be literally impossible to get past this. They actually can't convert because they don't know which one to go to. Now here's something I don't understand. For businesses that sell to both consumers and businesses, the people that you are selling to are the same people. I'm the same person when I'm on the British Gas website getting a quote on the consumer side of things as I am when I'm at work getting a quote for my business. Just because I'm sat in an office building doesn't mean that all of a sudden I respond really well to boring messaging, boring language, and confusing CTAs. And it makes even less sense when you think how much a business customer is worth versus a consumer. I want to show you 3 of my least and most favorite B2B landing pages in just a second, but before we do, let's cover the topic of secondary CTAs, because sometimes your business will have an ebook or a guide or a download or a trial, a demo, something that isn't get in contact, become a lead, take the next step. Something that's a little bit softer, maybe a little bit of a downsell. These landing pages are also incredibly important because they might be the target pages for LinkedIn campaigns. These pages can often be just as important in your digital marketing because they might be the target pages for LinkedIn campaigns or email campaigns that you're running. But just because you're asking for a lower level of commitment and you're giving somebody something free doesn't mean your landing page shouldn't still work really hard. Here we are on the Ecolab website, and they have this ebook called Embracing Pharma 4.0. Now I'm going to read the title of this ebook, and I want you to think about what could be better about this. Why operational digitization must be the top priority for pharma and biopharma manufacturers. Now we don't have to guess the target audience for this. I'm guessing it's pharma and biopharma manufacturers. We also don't have to guess what the topic of this ebook is, operational digitization. So on those counts, this title is pretty good. But where this title really falls down is the fact that it is so transparently a sales pitch for Ecolab's digitization product, right? They are not even trying to pretend that there is any value in this ebook at all. They are just saying, download our ebook. We're going to tell you why buying our thing should be your top priority. They can make this title so much more compelling by calling it something like how these 5 pharma companies are improving improving their efficiency through digitization, or something that has a little bit of perceived value. Then they could add all of the landing page elements that we've discussed. Why not get some social proof in here, showing some of the people who've read the ebook or contributed to it and their expertise? Why not give some testimonials from people that have had a look through it and found it really useful? Why not improve how attractive this is by giving some specific statistics like, hey, companies who implemented the steps in this ebook improved their efficiency by 8%. But no, they've done all the hard work in producing this only to throw up a landing page, which in reality is going to perform very poorly. Okay, let's put all of this together. I'm going to show you 3 horrendous B2B landing pages, and then I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite B2B landing pages. Let's go. First up on the not so good list is this landing page from Geico selling their business insurance. This is horrible. Just look at the CTA over here. Contact us. If you wish to speak to a Spanish-speaking insurance specialist, contact us on that number. Select option 7. If I want to speak to someone in English, no idea what to do. Then I've got this section here, which is where a CTA should normally be, but instead we've got this complicated guide to going through the options. They do tease us with a CTA, this business insurance calculator. But where is it? I think it might be this, but it kind of looks broken. We've then got this section, which honestly has to be seen to be believed. There is absolutely no credibility demonstrated, no social proof on their website. Actually, there are more disclaimers than there are testimonials or mentions of any type of significance, despite Geico being an absolutely huge business. This thing gets 1 out of 5. Honestly, if my landing pages look like this, I'd just turn off my ads. Next up on the not so great list is this landing page from Handelsbanken. Now, Handelsbanken offer a business account, but above the fold, this page is pretty light on detail, in fact, hilariously so. No clear CTA above the fold, no attempt to build any social proof. Now, as we scroll down the page, we get this, which is actually really interesting. Independent Service Quality Survey results. Now, they could have titled this something like, Handelsbanken is one of the UK's top business accounts for service quality, but they didn't call it that. Instead, they showed us this graph, which actually shows Handelsbanken towards the bottom of the list in position 4, which doesn't immediately sound great. Now, I happen to have a business that has Handelsbanken as its main bank, and I know Handelsbanken's USP is great in-person service. You can go to their branches, you can talk to their people, you can give them a call, they'll be in your office like the next day. It really is a fantastic personal service, but you'd never guess any of this from the website. Instead, we've got this horrible chart, and if you look closely, you'll actually see Handelsbanken is joint third, so why not put it above Tide just for the sake of this landing page, for goodness sake. Actually, they do have that on the next page, which you click into if you're interested. But then take a look. Handelsbanken is top for 3 of these 5 categories, but they haven't chosen to focus on any of those categories on the landing page instead. So what they've done instead is present themselves as one of the worst options when actually they're one of the best. The rest of this page just looks completely broken, and there's no CTA. There's no information about what you're supposed to do now if you've somehow managed to convince yourself that Handelsbanken is the right one for you. Terrible. Turn the ads off. Here's another dud, this time from RWK Goodman, a personal injury firm. Now, this is their work injury page, and there's no beating around the bush. This thing is poor. This is like an experiment to see what happens if you took away any credibility or social proof at all. So this page is pretty poor, unless I fancy reading a lot of dense information to find out anything about this business. Now, I don't know where they're based. I don't know how many people they've served. I don't know if they're any good at all. I would need to know at least a little bit about each of those questions before I was able to convert. The crazy thing is, if you click on this button here at the side, Review Solicitors, they've got loads of reviews, and they are really good reviews. So what I would do instead, if we were rebuilding this page, we'd probably take some of those reviews and use them to say the key messages about this business. Even a review like this, which I don't know whether it's for their accident at work service or not, this is a great testimonial to demonstrate that they fight for the little guy. But could they put it on their landing page? Obviously not. Alright, so that's a not so good list. Let's look at 3 of my favorite B2B landing pages. Now, this is for Alika Bank. We looked at Handelsbanken earlier. Alika Bank, I think, does a great job of converting new traffic to their business banking. Immediately, their position is really clear. Great benefits up front. Got the credibility and the social proof through the Trustpilot reviews. Clear benefits throughout the page about why you'd want to use Alika. They emphasize the personal aspects as well, which Handelsbanken could have done but didn't. And we've got a sticky CTA the whole time where I can start my application. If we wanted to take the conversion rate of this page to the next level, we might offer a secondary CTA, something like get in touch or or find out if you're eligible, something like that, which would be softer than apply now. But overall, this is a pretty good page. One of my next favorites is in the business insurance space, hardly the sexiest industry. But this page does a really nice job of making business insurance seem a little bit more personable. Notice the custom illustrations here. They're a really nice touch to make this business feel unlike any other business insurance page. We've got all of the credibility tools here. We've got the fact that we can get a quote simply for any of these policies. We've also got this sticky site-wide get an instant quote at the top. Now think about it, the word instant is actually an objection handling device there. But one of the main reasons this is one of my favorite B2B landing pages is there's so much content on this page and it's so well optimized for search that it actually ranks number 4 in the US for business insurance, which just goes to show just because it's a landing page doesn't mean it can't be working hard in search. But do you want to know one of my absolute favorite B2B landing pages? It is in the glamorous industry of business waste collection. This is Clearabee.co.uk and I think this is a masterful page. Now this would have cost a lot of money, but they will have made a fantastic ROI on that investment. Let's take a look. So we've got a really clear description of exactly what this page is about. We've got credibility above the fold. We've got the lure, getting a quote. We've also got this really interesting section here, which diverts people if they're somehow through to the wrong page. They're selling on price, so that's a real benefit, and they use their prices here as a form of objection handling. The layout of the page is really straightforward. Even though they're offering lots of different services, it never feels overwhelming or cluttered. And we've got the use of images, which is fantastic social proof. So this is a great page. It's had a lot of thought go into it. And what that means is that if you're Clearabee and you've got a landing page like this, you can invest far more in your digital advertising than a competitor with a much worse page, because you know that you're going to be converting a higher percentage of that traffic into customers. So who's going to be able to spend more per click? Clearabee is, because they know they're probably going to get a 5 or 6% conversion rate from this page compared to a competitor that might only be getting a 1 or 1.5% conversion rate. And that's the beauty of a fantastic B2B landing page. It makes all of the rest of your digital marketing more profitable. And if you're the marketing manager, it makes you look like a genius. So if you want to help with your B2B landing pages or the traffic campaigns to drive people to them, don't forget to request your free review from Exposure Ninja. Not everybody is eligible, so you do need to apply at exposureninja.com/review. Until next time, see you soon.